You might not have my name, but you have my blood. The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win, or you die.
You don't want to wake the dragon, do you?
Power resides where men believe it resides.
The things I do for love. If the boy lives, he'll be a cripple.
I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
There is only one God, and his name is death.
And there is only one thing we say to death. Not today.
What's up, everybody? Intro central, right? Like 3 minutes later. Jesus Christ, Ryan, get on with it. Oh, I'm back. I'm actually here. I can't believe we're doing it, guys. The electric's working. The Wi-Fi's working. I think I'm working. Yeah, everything's right. Everything's fine. Corey's in the chat, so we know it's going to be a good night. Corey, stay tuned. I've got some news for you coming up very soon. We'll announce that before we get into the breakdowns. We've got 2 episode breakdowns tonight because I was really bad last week and didn't do the live stream. I had no electricity, so I couldn't. But yeah, so we've got episode 9 and episode 10 this evening. We're going to go through. That doesn't mean that we don't have meme of the week this week. I know you can hit the like button or the dislike button. It's up to you. Doesn't really make a difference. It's all engagement, as we always say. But yeah, we don't have meme of the week, but don't fail, because that will be back next week for a bumper episode of meme of the week for season 1 entirety, and we're also going to listen to the lore and histories on the Game of Thrones YouTube channel, and that will finish off season 1 with a nice little bow. And then we're going to take a week off because I need a week off, even though I had 2 weeks off last week. I need an actual week off where I don't create content, and then we'll be back the week after for season 2 for 10 straight weeks, and I hope you all can join me for it. But without that being said, my name is Ryan Milkey. Welcome to Game of Thrones finale breakdown, episodes 9 and episode 10. Without further ado, let's impregnate this bitch, shall we? As a very famous Game of Thrones character would have said many, many times. Tyrion said it, and Yara. It'll come to me. Guys, without further ado, let's please welcome on our guests for this evening. You all know him, you all love him. That's the reason why we're here doing this. With all the intros, I thought this was a different channel. Ouch, that's a backstab. Jeez. Poppin, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Can't wait for this. It's been too long.
It has.
I watched episode 10 about 2 hours ago. So
yeah, I think I watched it about that long ago as well. I watched episode 9 and 10 both tonight. Yeah. I don't need an excuse to watch the episodes. I appreciate you still sticking with it.
I've been meaning to get to it, and I keep putting it off because I've got other stuff going on, but finally sat down and did it. So
yeah, I appreciate you finding the time to do it. I know it can be a nuisance when Milky's messaging you going, what do you think of the episode? Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? Because, not everyone's like me. They'll watch it as soon as they get off the live stream this week. We'll go and watch season 2, episode 1. But yeah, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. It's going to be a good one, bro. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a good one. So I hope you got some questions ready to break up my boring voice.
And as I said backstage, I got an interesting theory on 9 and 10. So we'll talk about that later.
Okay. Interesting. Well, you're not the only guest that we have tonight. We have another guest that's joined us, that's graced his presence on the live stream. He stuck to his word. I freed everybody from the requirement because I was late, and he stuck to it. So I really, really, really appreciate it. Please welcome on Maester Jeremy. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very, very good. Thank you for joining us. How has your week been?
Pleasure joining you for this epic episode 9 and 10. And week's been good.
Awesome. I really, really appreciate everybody coming in to hang out. Mitchie says, I can't wait to hear about Charles's feelings on these. But we just have a little bit of business, if you guys don't mind me just dealing with a little bit of business on the channel. Corey, my friend. I put out a giveaway challenge on this series. Nobody really took partake in it. I gave one rule and one rule only. You had to make a comment on a live stream on one of these 10 live streams to be entered to win. And we're on the finale now. So Corey wins it because Corey was the only person who comments. So round of applause for Corey, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So Corey, as stated, you win the magnets that I had set aside. But you didn't think I was just going to send magnets, did you? This was just a tease bait that I wanted people to enter for. So I'm going to show you now what you're going to win. And then if you could DM me, because I know you don't really do content very much, do you? You don't do live streams and stuff to show it off. So I'll take the opportunity to show it on this stream, and then you can do an Instagram post if you would like. But so you get the. Let me go big screen or bigger. How do we do this? There we go. So you get the magnets as previously stated. You're also going to get a hard tin greetings card with a dragon on it. So this is like a hard tin thing. It's pretty cool. You're also going to get the Tyrion Lannister little minifig.
That's life size, isn't it?
It is indeed. You're also going to get a Davos Seaworth minifig. And in memoriam of episode 9 itself, you're going to get a grayed out Ned Stark minifig. So that's 3, 4, 5 items. You're also going to get a little Game of Thrones 1 million golden dragon little cash thing that you can just keep hold of. You're also going to get a red dragon die keeper from Dungeons and Dragons. I know it's not Game of Thrones, but it's a dragon, so I thought it made sense. These are all from my personal collection as well, so yeah, you're going to get all of these. And then the piece de resistance of the whole thing that I was always going to give away with this giveaway is you're going to get my Cersei Lannister daubs.
Nice.
You're also going to get my Melisandre daubs. And previously purchased, literally last week, you're going to get my 5-star Tyrion Lannister.
I love it.
So in total, that's 10 items for 10 episodes. And you get them all, bro, because you made a comment. And you were the only one that commented. So I thank you very much. Thank you very, very much for the support and always continuing to be here. I know you don't do it for the giveaway, but you did win. So yeah, please DM me after the fact tonight or whenever you want to go to bed or in the morning or whatever, because I know it's late. Your postal address, and I will get them sent out to you at my next convenient opportunity, which will be payday. So yeah, thank you, Corey. Oh, we lost Jeremy. No, where's he go?
What?
There he is.
I was gonna say I'm still here. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Corey says, "Wow, that's so sweet. Definitely going to be on display." I appreciate it, Corey.
Nice.
Yeah, they're like I say, they're all from my collection, so I hope you enjoy them.
Hey, Kenneth Bird, what's up, buddy?
Thank you very much. And I'm going to do another giveaway at the end of season 2, and at the end of season 3, and at the end of season 4, and they're all going to be little things from my collection and little things that I pick up over the 10 weeks of the running seasons. And it'll just be a little box. It might not always be 10 items. It might not always be, it might be something bigger. It might be something smaller. But it's always going to be something at the end of the season. And Corey is more than willing to enter every single season because he's here and supporting. So I appreciate it. Fidel. What up, Gang of Lords? Sounds like a new game on Xbox.
Coming soon.
Let's get into it, shall we? We've been here for 10 minutes already. Which one's 9? This one is 9. So episode 9, guys. It's probably got a lot of slides on this one because it's a very heavy episode. You both know the rules. You feel free to interrupt me at any time. And let's just get into it, shall we? So at the start of this episode, a new location at the start. The Twins, where the bridge Rob needs to cross, is located. Rob has 20,000 troops, and he told the Lannister scout they captured last episode that he's heading south to do battle with Tywin. But to get there, he needs permission from Walder Frey, who controls the Twins. The episode opens, and all you see is black. It doesn't take long to realize we're in the dungeon, and this is all that Ned Stark sees as well. There is a light and a voice, and Varys has come to visit with him again. He tells Ned Stark that Sansa came to court today to plead for his life. Ned asks if Varys laughed with the others, and Varys can honestly say that he did not. Varys says that does not want Ned to die. He does not want Ned to die, and at least I believe him. Ned is unplushed. Has he no idea what Varys wants? Varys admits he could not help Ned escape, but he could help Ned escape, but he won't. He's no hero as to what he wants. Varys wants peace. Varys tells Ned that Robb is coming south. See, this is my own fault for putting white text over flame. I can't even read it. Robb is coming south to try and save him. Meanwhile, the late king's brother and true heir, Lord Stannis, is marching to King's Landing to take the throne. Wait, do we have a clip? Where are my clips? Oh, I didn't move them up. Here we go.
She knows a tame wolf is more use to her than a dead one.
You want me to serve the woman who murdered my king, who butchered my men, who crippled my son?
I want you to serve the realm. Tell the Queen you will confess your vile treason. Tell your son to lay down his sword and proclaim Joffrey as the true heir.
Ooh, it's getting good this week. It all adds up to war, and Varys does not believe that it is not good for Westeros. Varys wants Ned to serve the realm, as the only way he can do that is to confess his treason, tell Robb to withdraw his army and proclaim Joffrey the king. Give the Lannisters what they want, and they will live out your days serving the Night's Watch. You can serve alongside your brother and your bastard son, Varys tells him. Oh, were that so simple, but Ned doesn't care about sparing his life. It means nothing to him. His honor is worth more to him than taking another breath. He's a soldier, he says, and he learned to die a long time ago.
You grew up with actors. You learned their craft, and you learned it well. But I grew up with soldiers. I learned how to die a long time ago.
Yeah, cutting deep with the lyrics this episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. Varys cuts through his armor. What of your daughter's life, my lord? Is that a precious thing to you? He leaves, and Ned has to ponder that question. What do you guys think of the first interaction with, well, not the first interaction with Varys and Ned, but seemed like the final interaction with what we know later on in the episode?
Yeah. I think Ned is just, it's kind of like you said, he is a soldier through and through, and he knows what's right, and he's going to stick to it. But yeah, we see what happens. So.
I think Varys is a coward. I mean, I get what he says, that, his role is what it is and all those things. But at the end of the day, when given the opportunity to choose between right and wrong, he ducks it and just toes the line. I think he's a coward.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting take.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know more of Varys. Yeah, it's a very interesting take, Jeremy. I kind of agree with you a little bit. True. Which isn't very often that we do that.
All right.
Corey says the acting from Sean Bean. Yeah, definitely. Every show or movie Sean Bean is on, we all know he's going to get killed off. I know, right?
I just watched something else with him in it. I don't remember what it was. I swear it was him.
Did he die?
I'll get back to you on that.
Did you watch Lord of the Rings this weekend?
No, Lord, no.
Okay. Lord, no, please don't say that. We're going to go into Lord of the Rings after we finish Game of Thrones. I don't know. Outside the twins, Robb's men are shooting down ravens, worried that Lord Frey will send the Lannisters word of Robb's movements. He may be in Bannerman for the Tullys, but they don't trust Walder Frey. But they need to cross his bridge. GoldenEye, says Fidel. He was in James Bond GoldenEye. Theon tells Robb to march up and take it. They have the numbers. But Great John says that there isn't time. Catelyn tells them that for 600 years the Freys have held the bridge and extracted their toll for crossing it. Robb plans to go into the castle and ask Frey for permission, but his men think that that would be a suicide mission. Do we have a Walder Frey clip? Yeah, we do.
Stark, Tully, Lannister, Baratheon. Give me one good reason why I should waste a single thought on any of you.
Oh dear, we are in trouble. So that's a character from Harry Potter, Charles. You may have recognized him from Harry Potter. He is the caretaker.
Okay.
With the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Mr. Filch or Walder Frey, as some others may say. Lovely character. Sorry?
Pixels. He is the British army leader in Pixels. Sorry.
Oh, you watched Pixels? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, nice,
Sorry.
great movie.
Totally off subject, but yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. His mother has an idea. She's known Frey since she was a girl, and he would never harm her. Greyjoy is dubious, but doesn't get a vote. Great John, sorry. She will go and ask for permission. We meet Frey, and he's just a cuddly old thing, isn't he? Seriously, this guy is the creepiest, nasty Lord Voldemort would tell him he needs to chill. So there's your little Harry Potter reference, because he's in it. I know, Jeremy, I would say shame to you, because I still don't think you've seen the series. So yeah, shame,
I have not.
Shame. We need to get a shame bell for season 2 for sure. I wonder if anyone bought the bell on the auction. I need to check up on that and see what happened. He mentions to Catelyn that her father, Lord Tully, has not shown up in his past 3 or 4 weddings. He has more marriages than all 17 seasons of The Bachelor. A slight that has not gone unnoticed, although at this point, how many more panini presses could he need? In fact, he's well aware that her father looks down on the phrase. He wouldn't even marry off any of their children to his. For this, Catelyn must be eternally grateful. Catelyn presses on after trying to deflect his criticism of her family. She's come to ask a favour, that he allow her son and his army to cross the bridge. Well, why should he? She tells him Robb has 20,000 men, but he just scoffs and says that there'd be 20,000 corpses when Lord Tywin gets there. She tells him he pledged an oath to her father. He scoffs some more and says, I said some words. For all he cares, all those families can kill each other. What's in it for him? It's very interesting knowing what's to come, and I need to be careful with my wording, but knowing what's to come and him with oaths, it's quite interesting. Like, an oath is mentioned to him, he says, I said some words. But like, an oath plays a very big part in a story later on, so it's interesting. You pick up these little things at the very beginning. Let's check the chat. I'm not ignoring you guys. Yep. Fidel laughing. At Castle Black, Lord Commander Mormont has a present for his hero, Jon, who injured his hand when he threw the lamp at the White and killed him last episode. It's called Longclaw, and it's a long sword with a new pommel in the shape of a wolf. It was Gior's father's sword made of Valyrian steel. He has no son to give it to now that Jorah, who's off with Dany, who we met in the previous episodes, has been exiled from the kingdom. It's poetic, the bastard son who inherits nothing, getting something that is due another man's son. The Night's Watch is his family now. Jon doesn't have any worry about Alistair Thorne for a bit, adds Mormont, as he's been sent down to King's Landing with the White's hand for a little. We have some serious shit going on up here. Show and tell for the king. So they're going to take the hand to the king and go, look what's going on up there. It's crazy. Everyone at the castle heard about the surprising gift, and they're all congratulating Jon and his buddies, and they all want to see it. But Sam is sitting by himself, and Jon can tell something is troubling him. Spill it, Sam. One of the perks of his jobs is to read our mail sent to Maester Aemon. I know our mail got a little bit of a giggle last week, so I thought we'd give it another return. The Raven mail. He gave the our mail to Maester Aemon. He read out about Robb's army. He tells Jon everything he knew. Robb's marching south, and he has his bannerman's support, and he's heading for the war with the Lannisters. Jon says that he should be with his brother. Do we have more clips? No, not yet. Catelyn comes back from a meeting with Walder Frey. Apparently all his gruffness and sneering was just bargaining pose. He didn't say no, so he's going to let her have what she wants and more. Robb will get most of his army, but only if he gets what he wants, and he has a long list. I think it was Arya. As Catelyn goes through the items, it gets worse and worse until she answers the last of Robb's ones, and Robb has to take one of his lovely daughters off his hands. Robb is less than thrilled with this deal, but he is the leader and he has to do what he must. Theon is not helping by cracking up at this moment. Just watching this back and knowing the conversation, I don't look at Robb's face and I don't look at Catelyn's face now. I do look at Theon and I look at the other people in the room, and they are literally belittling Robb in that moment. It's very cool. You don't get to feel it on the first watch. Charles, what say you? Would you be willing to marry some random woman you've never met just to get over a bridge?
I mean,
or would you just wade through the river?
Depends on what she looks like, I guess.
Well, you've seen some of the girls that were in that room.
I mean, yeah. I know.
I got a little something right here.
No, knowing
Build my own bridge. Screw it.
knowing even without knowing what we shouldn't know, his willingness to break an oath or put strings on an oath would be enough for me to commit to it and then back out later.
Yeah, if he can back out, why can't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point.
True.
Lol, Mitchie in the chat. Rob got the short end of the stick, says Fidel. I agree. I completely agree. We see Rob's men crossing the bridge, some travelling along the water, some peeling off to the left. And we get a very interesting conversation from an old man at the wall with Jon Snow. Jon has been summoned by Maester Aemon, not the Aemon that we would be thinking of from House of the Dragon, although they are related. The Maester asks him if he knew why the men of the Night's Watch take no wives and father no children. He says it's so that they will not love. Love is the death of duty. It's pretty obvious to everyone that Sam told Aemond he was worried that Jon will desert to go fight with his brother, and Aemond is here to talk him out of it. Love is the death of duty is one of the most powerful lines in the show, and that's why I clicked it.
Love is the death of duty. If the day should ever come when your Lord Father was forced to choose between honor on the one hand and those he loves on the other, what would he do?
What would he do? What would he do indeed?
That might be tested here sooner than we think.
Yeah, for all the people that are now sniggering at the TV going, oh my God, Milky's shilling to the end the season finales and all that kind of stuff. I'm not. I'm just connecting good storytelling with good writing. Yes, the writing gets bad at the end, but they did have some gems still within the story. Yeah. That was the best way I could be spoiler-free for Charles. Just know love is the death of duty will be a returning phrase throughout the show. He asks Jon what he thinks his father, Lord Stark, would do if he had to choose between honor and love, and those he loved. Jon, who idolizes Ned, says his father would do whatever is right, but Maester Aemon doubts this. Most men are not so strong. Finally, he gets to the point. Jon, you love your brother Rob and your father, and you probably want to run off and help them. But what's your duty? Your duty is here at the wall. And he screams at him, pretty much. Frey, LSAPC, Frey wants his daughter to get the short end of Rob's thing. Oh, I love it. I love it. I think Rob would kiss a skunk's ass first. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jon gets pretty PO'd. He tells the old man that you don't know anything about how I feel. How many teenagers have had this exact exchange with some old person convinced that whatever they were experiencing has never been experienced before? There you go. Maybe Bailey should watch Game of Thrones sometime when she's old enough. And how many times does the old guy just happen to have a story that makes it clear we're not that different? So Maester Aemon tells Jon a story. How he had received his own raven not that many years ago, telling him that his family was killed, his house ruined. Unlike Jon, he wasn't young and strong, but already old, frail, and blind when he got the news. He read how they had killed his brother's son and the little Targaryen children, as he says.
If he was blind, how'd he read it?
Braille, or somebody read it to him.
Okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. He does mention Egg. He goes when he says my brother was murdered and all this stuff, and he mentions Egg. Egg will be the main character in the Hedge Knight show that's coming in 2025. He will be the bold Targaryen little boy that we meet, and obviously we know by the time we get to Game of Thrones that the only Targaryens left are Daenerys and this old man. So it's not really a spoiler that Egg's going to die because we know the events at the start of this show.
I didn't say anything bad.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the story unfolds. But once made, it will live with Jon for the rest of his days. Is it just me, or did that not make it any easier for Jon to decide? It was pretty hard. And we get to Aquaman and Daenerys. I don't really vibe with Daenerys in the first season, to be honest. Like, her story is perfect for a beginning season, but people might think I don't have much Daenerys content within my slides. I try to be very thorough with the breakdowns, but I don't have many clips of her and stuff like that. Maester Aemon's last surviving relative, Daenerys Targaryen, is crossing the desert with her son, and stars slip from her horse. He is weak, and his wound is not healing. As he lays on the ground, one of his men, Kotho, says that Carl, who cannot ride, is no Carl. Dany quickly comes up with an excuse that they have to stop the caravan because she's about to give birth. She calls for Miri, the healer who worked on Drogo after his injury. Fidel says, should have thrown Drogo in the water, could have saved him. Drogo's looking rough. Yep, he is indeed.
Yes, definitely.
He could have just cleaned that up. Would he have survived?
Yeah, I mean, if she would, Mitchie asked if he would have just spit shined that thing. Would
No, I mean, like,
you
do
know?
the thing that women tell you to go do, but men are just ignorant and don't do it. So they don't clean the wound and get it stitched up. But if he would have done that, he probably would have survived.
Well, he should have just rubbed dirt in it and been done with it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Just rub dirt in it. Spit on it and rub dirt in it. Hawk Tua, that thing.
Yeah, go on. Very, very good point. I think he was just being too masculine in it. He was like, it's a wound from war, so I'll deal with it because, you know, we deal with our war efforts the way we do. But yeah, very good point, Mitch. He could have just put some antiseptic wipes on it and cleaned it, and he would have been fine. And he could have marched those horses over the ocean.
And Aquaman.
Aquaman, yeah. Maybe that was because he got the Aquaman role. They just couldn't clean the cut because he'd already been given the Aquaman role and he had to get out of the show, you know?
How different would this show have turned out had he survived and rode in his wooden horses?
Very, very good point.
Yeah.
How many horses just put on a boat for things? That's a good question that we can come back to another day. Back at Camp Lannister, the scout has returned with the intel of Rob's troop movement. Tyrion joins the discussion, and his father tells him that he and the Mountain Men will be leading in the vanguard. Shit. I think Tyrion's like, oh shit, what? You're basically going to kill me. Tyrion looks shocked, then amused, then furious, and he blurts out, surely there are other ways to have me killed that would be less detrimental to the war effort. His father cuts off further discussion, and Tyrion storms off. Sounds like a typical Thanksgiving dinner at every American house in America.
Definitely.
Back at his tent, Tyrion finds Bronn waiting there with a whore that he took from Sir what's-his-name. The less you ask Bronn, the better. Tyrion tells Bronn the news that they'll be leading the charge in the morning. Bronn decides he better go find himself some company from that might be their last night. And then we meet good old Shay. Tyrion starts talking to the girl, and she's a spunky one. She says her name is Shay, and she has an erotic accent. Or an exotic. I completely read that wrong. That's my own brain fart, guys. It says exotic, and I said erotic. There you go.
Could have gone either way.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. She asks Tyrion what he wants from her. He's remarkable. He's remarkable prepared for this question. I want you to share my tent. I want you to pour my wine, laugh at my jokes, rub my legs when they're sore after a day's ride. I want you to take no other man to bed for as long as we're together. And I want you to fuck me like it's the last night in this world. Which it may well be. Tyrion has some of the best lines in the entire show. He really, really does. And the use of vulgar language is used to perfection in this show. I don't feel like it's overused. I don't feel like it's underused. I just think it's perfect. Whoa, dude, give a girl some space. But Shay is smart. She asks what she's going to get in return for all that. Safety, the pleasure of his company, and more gold than she could spend if she lived 1,000 years. Should have led to the last one. Should have led with the last one, sorry. Off come the clothes. Back to the corpse and Dany.
Yeah.
Drogo is getting worse. Jorah tells Dany he won't last the night. But she can't accept that. Jorah warns Dany that they should leave before Drogo dies, because once he's dead, there will be a struggle for power and she will lose. But she will not run. She is a Khaleesi, and her unborn child will be the next Khal. Do I have clips? Because I feel like I haven't played any in a while. No. Jorah explains that, unlike Westeros, they don't honor bloodlines here, only strength. Well, the bloodlines aren't the only thing that carries the day in Westeros either, as Joffrey is proving. The next Khal will kill her child rather than give up power. Miri, the healer, comes in, followed by Kotho. Miri states the obvious, the wound has festered. Kotho is still angry that Dany is letting this witch tend to Drogo, and demands she stay away, but Dany wants her there, despite the fact that so far nothing she's done has helped. Yeah, everything that she's done has completely gone crazy. That this scene that I cut up a horse's neck in the tent and they get covered in blood, and it's a whole sacrifice, and it's pretty crazy stuff that's going on. You know, it's not your normal honor and duty and fight to the death. This is some crazy witch crazy shit. I don't quite like it. Miri is a blah character to me. Sibel Kekili as Shay. Is that the name of the actress? Thank you. He threatens Dany. What will happen to her if Drogo dies? He tells her she is nothing without him, but Dany will have none of that sass. She is a Targaryen, blood of the dragon. He's not scared. All of the dragons are gone, he says as he leaves. Dany and Drogo make plans to prepare for a fight. And we get good old Jorah Mormont going out there, having a good old fight. Crazy how he's all slow and with his armor, and this guy's got no clothes on, and he's quick and movable and nimble. And but in the end, you do see that it looks like armor is probably the best course to take in these kind of worlds in this world.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Miri says that there's nothing that she can do but ease his pain. Dany will not accept this. There must be something that she can do, some magic that gets Miri's attention. You want magic? Sure, but it'll cost you. Only death pays for life. Dany asks, whose death? But Miri skirts the issue. She asks for Drogo's horse. It goes reluctantly into the tent. Your horses have a sixth sense, because it was screaming like a motherfucker when it went in that tent.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on. I haven't got a clue. Even Ricario tries to talk Dany out of this. Blood magic is forbidden, but its ritual commences. Miri kills the horse. Blood spurts everywhere. Dany leaves, and outside we hear strange, inhuman sounds coming from the tent. Jorah asks, what have you done? And we're all wondering that too. Gotho has heard enough. He heads into the tent to kill the witch and stop the magic, but Jorah defends Dany. And he ends up pushing her over, and she lands on her belly, and it ends up sending her into early labor, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, because this baby came pretty quick. Like 3 episodes, and she gave birth from pregnant to birth. I know it's not like 3 days and stuff, and it follows over a couple of months at least, obviously, but it was weird. Although I don't know if the magic and stuff within around her and had progressed the state of the baby. It was pretty crazy. But Gotho had stuck Dany and thrown her to the ground, and that has induced labor. The baby is coming, and someone should suggest the witch deliver the baby. What could possibly go wrong there, right? Since the midwives might be afraid of getting near Dany with all the blood magic going on, Jorah carries Dany into the tent where the blood sacrifice, magic, demonic shrieking, and other supernatural stuff is going on. That's all down Jeremy's lane. He knows all about that stuff. Check his other channel out for all that kind of stuff. But that was the only place approved by her HMO, so she didn't have much choice.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's her name. She's gorgeous in real life.
I mean, the witch said, "Death. It requires death to bring life."
Life, death requires life.
She assumes it's the horse, which was ridiculous on her part. And then she had one rule. Once this ceremony starts, nobody can enter this tent.
But how stupid was she from the get-go, where she saved that lady that had already been hurt before?
That was episodes ago when she made the bad decision of saving that lady in the first place.
It all stemmed from her doing that and knowing she's a witch and could do whatever she wanted.
I think Dany made a lot of really dumb mistakes.
Naive and...
But it was necessary to the building of her character.
Yes, definitely.
That we don't know about yet. I honestly don't. You said earlier that you didn't put a lot of stuff about Dany in this season so far. I really don't think there was a lot to be said about her. That was a very there's not a lot to be told. This is a building of her character, and nothing matters until the next episode, I believe.
Yeah.
She's just making babies. That's all she's doing, learning how to make a baby.
I mean, and how did that work out for her? So
The next episode shows it all.
right.
I also believe when she chose to save Miri, that was the start of her empire of saving people. As we know that it's the crusade that she goes on. That decision was also made in haste of her path forward. We all know that the baby isn't part of that plan. So
Right.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. Let me get some cool little drinking games. I'm still to play these kind of games, but they are on my list of playing drinking games. Game of Thrones themed drinking games. Shay and Tyrion are playing a game. Who can hold their hand over the fire longer? And he's losing. Time for a new game. Tyrion will make a statement about Shay and Bronn, and if he's right, they have to take a drink. If he's wrong, he has to take a drink. Tyrion guesses about Bronn, all right, but every one of his about Shay is wrong, and he's about to pass out from all of the alcohol. He's convinced that she's lying because he fancies himself a great judge of people. Shay turns the tables on Tyrion and asks him about the women that he loved. Bronn had heard that Tyrion had been married before. The Lannister soldiers are such gossips. That's the guy that played in the Pixels movie, Blaze. Fast forward.
Right.
Love you, bro. Thanks for stopping in.
Yes, thank you for stopping in.
Oh, so Tyrion, since he's many sheets to the wind at this point, tells the story of his lost love. He tells the story of how he met a girl when he was 16. He thought that she was being attacked, and he came to her rescue as Jaime hunted down her attackers. Her name was Tysha, and they spent the night, and in the morning, he asked for her hand. They were to be wed immediately, and they lived happily ever after until the Septon, who performed the marriage, told Tywin's father, Tywin, about the nuptials about 2 weeks later. That's when Tyrion discovered the truth. The whole thing had been a prank. Jaime had hired the girl, a whore, made up the whole scenario because the thought it was time Tyrion get laid. After Jaime fessed up, Tywin gave the girl to his guards, paying her a silver for each guard. His father forced him to watch. She was rolling in silver by the time she was done. Horrible, horrible, nasty man. Just hates his son and put him through things like that.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Oh, the lame dragons.
Oh,
Bro.
and Jaime too.
Yeah, what a piece of shit.
Blaze has come in with the lame dragons, so we are going to have to give him his obligatory.
Mitchie's pulling her sword.
Nice. I'll put you on screen. We just got to give Blaze his rightful due.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be fighting too. Don't care if he's my dad or not. I'd be like, you know what? I've had enough of this crap.
Yeah, that's low.
Yeah, even for Tyrion, and he's tiny. Bronn said Tyrion should have killed his father. Shay said Tyrion shouldn't have been so gullible. And then they start kissing him, and you wonder, is he still being a gullible around women? Which is a very good point. Maybe he's just playing it up. The next morning, Tyrion and Shay are still asleep in bed when Bronn bursts in. He's sleeping through the wall. Stark's army is near, about a mile away. Tyrion suits up and heads off to war. Though he's called the Imp, you don't often notice his height because of the force of his presence. But as they gird for battle, Tyrion suddenly seems very small and literally in over his head. Bronn tells him to stay low, which is one of the funniest small man jokes in the entire series. If he's lucky, no one will notice him. Tyrion, I was born lucky. And we get a fantastic, rousing speech from Tyrion. Tyrion deserves so much better. I agree, completely agree. We get back on track with my. Do we have any? No, we don't. Okay. Tyrion calls together the tribesmen of the Vale and gives a great pre-fight prep talk. He addresses each particular group: Stone Crows, Black Ears, Burned Men, Moon Brothers, and some odds painted dogs. Your dominion over the Vale begins now. They are all riled up and start chanting, half man, half man. They charge off into battle, but Tyrion won't be on the front lines as he is knocked out by one of his own men. Just gets knocked out.
I laughed so hard when he ran into that. I was like,
yeah. The plot armor is thick with Tyrion. When he wakes, they've won. The tribesmen fought well, but the scouts were wrong. Robb wasn't coming towards them with 20,000 men. In fact, he didn't even go that way at all. He sent ahead just 2,000 of his bannermen, so that's why Robb left the Lannister scout. That's why Robb let the Lannister scout go with that message earlier in the previous episode, so that if Robb wasn't here, then where was he?
mm-hmm.
He was going to capture the one and only Jaime Lannister. Sly dog of him. Catelyn and Roderick are waiting, and they see that Robb and his army coming towards them. They have gone to Riverrun to take on Jaime Lannister, and they were victorious. Not only has Jaime's army been defeated at what is now called the Battle of the Whispering Wood, but Jaime the Kingslayer has been captured. Catelyn wants Jaime to give her back her daughters, whom she believes are both still in the Lannisters' control. She doesn't know that Arya is on the run. And give her Ned back. But Jaime claims that he cannot do this. And we get a very arousing speech from from Robb, which we have here.
Victory does not make us conquerors. Did we free my father? Did we rescue my sisters from the Queen? Did we free the North from those who want us on our knees?
Did we free the North from them who want us on our knees? Love it. It was Agatha. Oh, quick draw. Love it.
So,
awesome speech, Corey.
So Mitchie raised the question, and I've had the same thought. I mean, what do we think about that? I mean, Robb sent basically 2,000 of his men to the slaughter.
Well, he even said that.
Yeah.
In the thing, he said, I just send 2,000 men
Yeah.
to their death.
I think it was a noble decision, and it was something that Ned probably would have done.
Yeah, I think Ned would have done the same thing. Sometimes, I mean, even in today's society, we do that. We send some off to so we can do the greater good on this side, you know. So I don't know. I don't think I could physically do that, but I know people do.
Ned would have dressed up mannequin type looking things with their stuff to make it look like they're coming like 2,000, just so he wouldn't have to kill 2,000.
Yeah, I'm curious as to whether he had to send 2,000 men to fight. If that's what the expectation was, they all went there. He could have just taken the whole army to defeat Jaime, and not shown up in the other place. But having said that, it worked out the way it needed to work out.
Yeah,
so,
it did. Yeah. No, it's a very good question. What do you guys think in the chat? Do you agree with the decision that Robb made to send 2,000 of his men basically to their death, or do you think it was noble cause for what he needs to do? He's just got permission from Walder Frey to go south. He doesn't want to lose all his men in this battle right now. He needs to save some of them to go to do the war that he wants to go fight. So, yeah, I think it's an honourable thing that he did, and it's very Ned-like in my opinion. I think Ned would have done the same thing. And that was slide 69, so it was interesting that we got good conversation out of that one. Theon wants Jaime's head, but Catelyn suggests that he be locked up instead. Jaime, one of the most gifted swordsmen in all of the realm, offers Robb a solution. Let's battle it out right here, right now. But Robb realizes that he can't beat Jaime that way, so that will not be how this is finished. I think I have a clip for that one too.
If we do it your way, Kingslayer, you'd win. We're not doing it your way.
Come on, pretty man.
Come on, pretty man.
Interesting. I have a fun fact about Robb that I can't share until later seasons, but I'm excited to share it with everybody to see if people noticed it throughout this series, because it's quite an interesting one. So we'll bookmark that for another episode. After Jaime is taken away, Robb addresses his men. 2,000 of his men were just sacrificed for the cause. They may have won the war against Jaime Lannister, but Ned is still in prison. His sisters are still with the Lannisters. Joffrey is still on the throne, so the battle is not over. Arya is still in the city, but looks like a street orphan rather than a lady of Winterfell. She's trying to get some food when she is drawn to the great sept of Baelor, the centre of religious worship in the city, where the hand of the king is being taken. King Joffrey is holding court, and her father Ned is being brought before him to answer for his treason. I'm just taking that in, guys, because I'm actually getting to talk about this on YouTube. It's crazy. She runs to see him, crumbling up the statue of Baelor, which the name of the episode is titled after, for whom the sept is named. Her father spots her, and as he's brought into the square, he passes by Yoren of the Night's Watch, and he just mutters and has just a moment to utter Baelor. Luckily, Yoren understands, looks over at the statue, and sees Arya. And then we get the most Horrible, horrible of scenes.
I am Eddard Stark, Lord of Winterfell, and Hand of the King. I come before you to confess my treason.
Oh, Ned.
So here's a question I had while watching this. Do you think he only confessed because his two daughters were standing there?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been like, screw you, do it. I do believe. If his kids weren't standing there, I don't think he would have confessed.
I think it was the earlier in the episode, Varys asked him, "What of your daughter?" And I think that flips his mindset around, and he's like, "Okay, I'll do what the Lannisters want. I'll go north. I'll try and survive."
Yeah.
But,
I just think he lived by honor, and he should have died by honor. And I hate that he makes this speech. I hate it.
This taints him to me.
For me, it's a step back on everything that he's been doing for the whole season. He's been pushing and pushing and pushing on the fact that what is right must be set right, and he does something that he knows is wrong. He blatantly lies.
It goes against everything he stands for.
But what did Aemon Targaryen say? Love prevails.
Love is the death of duty. Love is the death of duty.
And he loves his daughters.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, you're bang on the nail, Mitchie. You're completely and utterly right. It's why I'm frustrated with Ned Stark all the way through this season, because he has such a focused mindset on where he's going and what he wants to do, and then love is the death of duty is the downfall of Ned Stark.
I hate it.
He gives in.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I hate it too. Ned stands before the crowd. His daughter Sansa is standing next to Cersei, which I absolutely hate. And the king, she smiles at him and she starts to do what he has to do to save her life. Ned is answering the question that Varys posed to him in the dungeon. What of your daughter's life? Is that a precious thing to you? Ned the Honourable, the duty-bound, says, I come before you to confess my treason in the sight of gods and men. He says what Cersei wants to hear, because she is gleaming from ear to ear. He betrayed Robert, he plotted to kill Joffrey and seize the throne for himself. Shouts of traitor can be heard, and some from the assembled masses hurl things at Ned. He goes on, lying to save his daughters, that Joffrey Baratheon is the one true heir of the throne, of the Iron Throne. Joffrey is gleeful in victory, and his mother can barely hide her own joy. Even Sansa looks pleased, this silly little girl.
Well,
and then
he would have done what he did. His kids would have been dead.
Yeah, I agree.
No, just Sansa.
Just Sansa, yeah.
And I would be okay with that. But
I would have been okay with that too.
Just saying.
So I have two clips here that I want to play. One says Joffrey being nice, and the other one says "fuck you, Joffrey." So we'll play them, and I'm sure you'll know what they are.
Stripped of all titles and powers, he would serve the realm in permanent exile. And my lady Sansa has begged mercy for her father.
Oh, that smug smile from Sansa! I could just.
He's like a Children of the Corn Macaulay Culkin to me.
He does look like Damien from Children of the Corn.
It's a very good one. It's a very good one. Screw you, Joffrey. That is the next clip that we're going to play. So this one is called "Fuck You, Joffrey."
But they have the soft hearts of women. So long as I am your king, treason shall never go unpunished. Sir Ilyn, bring me his head.
Try to stop it.
Sir Ilyn, bring me his head. Grand Maester Pycelle speaks about how the gods can be both just and merciful, then turns to Joffrey for his ruling. Joffrey tells us that his mother wants him to spare Ned Stark's life, have him sent to the Night's Watch, stripped of all his rights and powers, to live out his days defending the realm in exile. He says that his dear Sansa has begged for mercy for her father, so they're ready for him to use this to explain why he's been kind. But he will not listen to those soft-hearted women. So long as I'm king, treason shall never go unpunished. Sir Ilyn, bring me his head. Sansa and Cersei scream, trying to stop him, but Joffrey has made up his evil little mind. And we have the image here of Cyrillin about to take his head. From here, time seems to speed up. Sansa is hysterical, Arya is devastated, and Cersei is pissed. Even Varys runs over and tries to talk with the king. Meanwhile, Ilyn Payne, the royal executioner, cannot get his black hood on fast enough. Ned is put down, his head lowered. Arya is running towards him when Yoren grabs her. He tells her not to look, not to say anything, and to keep her eyes on him. Ned looks around. He's looking for Arya, but she's not in the statue anymore. He bows his head, and we hear the sound of the sword. The sword makes as it slices through, and it's all over. Arya opens her eyes and sees birds flying away in the sky. She's holding tight to Yoren and closes her eyes again. The end.
Go back 2 slides. Go back to that picture. Look at that smug little bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Looking at the camera.
Oh.
If you were about to get on your hands and knees, why would you start screaming from the rooftops? Why does he have blonde hair?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you know you're dying. I would have spilled the beans to the entire.
I would have been screaming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because you say Sansa's screaming, which she is. You say Cersei's telling him no, and she's just standing there peacefully.
She don't care.
She don't care.
Grabbed him and said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, but she doesn't really care. Look at her. And he's just fucking cheesing for the camera.
Yeah.
Well, smug bastard. Sorry, I just had to.
No, please don't be sorry. I love the input. I love it. So I have a little bit extra here at the bottom. That was the most shocking moment in any show that I've ever seen, and still to this day is. The hero isn't supposed to die. Certainly not in the first season. Someone swoops in and saves the day, and the 11th hour always. But that's not the world of Game of Thrones. Guys, if you enjoyed this breakdown, please consider scanning that QR code on screen. You can straight to my page for Buy Me a Coffee. I'd appreciate it. Joffrey,
and that's
what a cunt.
And that's a season finale situation. Like they just dropped that on episode 9. Like nobody's expecting that to happen.
Correct. Yeah, everyone thinks that all the plans get laid for episode 9, and then the good shit happens in the end in episode 10. And Game of Thrones does that.
If within the first episode or 2, if you had to go like, how does this storyline end? It ends up with Ned on the throne.
Yeah.
9 episodes in, and he's beheaded.
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
And then nothing else, like you said. Most seasons would end with his head rolling down the steps.
Right.
Come back next year, not this one.
Oh yes, definitely buy this man a coffee.
Yes,
appreciate it. Ned sacrificed his honor for his family and ended up with neither. The good man dies, an admitted traitor. Sansa was betrayed by the man she's supposed to marry, and she's not the only one. Joffrey, a psychotic man-child, wields immense, unrestrained power. Cersei thinks that she's in charge, but she cannot control her son. Robb thinks that he has a bargaining chip, i.e. Jaime Lannister, that he can use to save his father. But his father's already dead, and Arya is about as alone as a person can get. Yeah, and I give it tough episode. Again, if you enjoy these, please consider buying me a coffee. You can scan this QR code here. Let me know if it works. Somebody please scan it, even if you're not wanting to support me at the moment. Scan it and see if it works, and let me know. Let me know what you think. That's the end of episode 9 breakdown. Charles, anything you would like to add or questions? Do you want me to put it back up so you can scan it? Does it take me there? Awesome. Thank you.
What was your question? Sorry.
Any questions that I know you said you had before going into these? Anything you want to add and finally your rating on this episode?
9.3 on this episode for me. So much going on. And like Jeremy said, and I agreed with him that most shows, this would be the finale. Like, they beheaded him. All right, we'll come back and you'll see a little recap, and then we'll move on. But not this show. I mean, but we learned that with House of the Dragon too, or I learned that with House of the Dragon. The last episode wasn't really the last episode; it was the one before the last. So,
which is a common trait in Game of Thrones world.
Yeah.
But also they gave us like episode 4 or 5 was like a big one in House of the Dragon, which was kind of off kilter to what they usually do because it's mid-season, But I just think it was because they cut it down to 8 episodes that we had to get it somewhere in the mid-season. Maybe that's where I'm thinking. 9.3, did you say?
Yeah, I would give it 9.3, 9.4. I really enjoyed it. There was a couple episodes that we watched that it was like, whatever. But it all builds. So that's one thing I like about it.
Interesting. Jeremy, Mitchie, what do you guys think of this episode? I know that you've jumped ahead a bit, but it's infamous, right? This episode is infamous.
8.2.
8.2.
Okay. Mitchie's scoring is different to a lot of people's. Mine, I made it clear that all of these are in the 9s for me. All of season 1 are in the 9s.
It's not just Mitchie's scoring. Mitchie's just different.
Unique and amazing in their own right, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I get emotionally attached to characters, and they killed off one I really liked.
So then that downgraded it. I got you. That
and
makes
then
sense.
Sansa's bitch.
Yeah.
I'm still worried about the dog.
But as a premise of a show, Mitchie, did that not just hook you even more that you wanted to now watch more? Or were you like, I don't want to watch this anymore?
It was difficult to get through a couple episodes when we first started watching it. But we're like, okay, let's get through this. And then we kept going after we saw the season finale. And I mean, it was completely worth it, but you're always going to have episodes that are just kind of going to.
Yeah. And I'm not about to say a spoiler alert, but this show is great at doing that. Like, you're like, that's it. I'm never going to watch it again. And then you're like, but I have to. And so you watch a few more episodes and then you get sucked back in hardcore. And then, oh my God, I'm never watching this show again. And then you get sucked back in.
Because I get so characters on TV shows.
This was a hard show for getting attached to characters. Yes.
Fidel says, don't ever get emotionally attached to any character that Sean Bean plays.
He is you should be able to predict his death from
I've cried.
moment one.
I've gotten mad. I've had every emotion.
I thought that this episode was a 10 out of 10. And the reason I say that, I think Corey said that too.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is it epitomizes everything that this show is about.
Yeah.
It brought it all to a head and told us everything we need to know about this show.
Yeah. Jeremy kind of taking it from me, kind of take my thunder there.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're right. This is a 10 out of 10 episode for me as well. It's the only one that's 10 out of 10. All the others are 9 point something. This is 10 out of 10. For me, this is Game of Thrones. This episode is what I love so much about this whole thing. It's the drawing in of, like Mitchie says, falling in love with a character so much, and then they get taken away from you. And it's no other show did that. You know, I said in my breakdown that usually in the 11th hour, Iron Man flies in and saves the day, or the Avengers turn up, and that's just not what happens in Game of Thrones. Right. You've got to be prepared to be upset and lose these characters that you love. And maybe that's one of the downfalls that we will get onto in a future video of why I don't enjoy House of the Dragon as much as I do Game of Thrones, because there doesn't seem to be the characters seem to be impervious in the storyline until they get to the point in the book where they're supposed to be. And I just agree with that, because in Game of Thrones they took liberties and they killed people that they weren't supposed to kill people, and they did things that they weren't supposed to do, and it made it interesting.
And every time somebody dies in Game of Thrones, it builds that next character up.
Yeah.
Right. So we wouldn't know the greatness of, say, a Robb Stark if this didn't go on with Ned Stark. And so it just every character, every time you lose somebody, it's just the introduction to this new role for a new character that you're going to fall in love with for however much time we're given.
Yeah. Same thing with Ned Stark's wife. Would she have such a pivotal role if he didn't go be the Hand?
Yeah.
Or would she just be back home with the kids in Westeros and living life? But so
yeah.
Mitchie does say here in the chat, I do have multiple 10 out of 10 episodes in Game of Thrones. So that just intrigues me even more, because what could be better than episode 9 of season 1?
The series finale.
No. Well.
Why do you think I came all this way?
Just kidding.
But I actually have multiple in my head. So
okay, well, we can't talk about them yet.
I can't talk about it yet.
Yeah, we will get to them.
Yeah, I know. Indeed. I know you know, Mitchie, but I know too. I know which ones you're talking about. So.
Feel free to privately DM me what they are if you want to. Let's just go for it. Laughing my ass off the series finale.
So
Charles is going to get there and going to be like, why does everybody hate it? It was so good.
Yeah, it's just a 12 out of 10 for me. Come on. Yeah. So I figured out why Aquaman couldn't heal himself, right?
Yeah.
He's a DC character, not Marvel.
Oh yeah.
You watch it on your DC character versus Marvel. You just watch your tongue. He did make it yummy to watch.
Looking into his deep black eyes were so mesmerizing. Yes. Yes.
Okay, guys. Right, let's do it, shall we? Let's go.
Have your moments about Allison all day long over there, so I can have my moments about my Aquaman over here.
You're more than welcome to them.
Just a complete side note off the subject. I apologize, but Milky, the movie Ouija, like the Ouija board, has Alicent in it.
Okay.
And I need to go back and rewatch it because in the majority of horror movies, there's at least some level of nudity. So,
okay.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah.
Quiet Ones. Look up the. I don't know if Milky will like it. I don't know how much horror
Watch them all.
like, but
If Alison gets naked, I'm going to like it, Mitchie.
Yeah, he's going to watch it.
She.
I'll find out and I'll give you timestamps.
No, I'll commit to a 2-hour movie. Do you know she's also in Ready Player One?
Oh yeah,
she's the main girl in
quite
Ready
a
Player
bit.
One.
Yeah, she's in quite a bit.
Yeah, great movie. Right, guys, we've been on for an hour. That's one episode breakdown done. Usually that would be the end of the night. We would do Meme of the Week, but we're not going to have that this week. We're going to go straight into episode 10. Corey is letting us know perfect timing that they're off to bed. I'm going to have to head off to bed. I've got college early tomorrow, unfortunately. I will watch this tomorrow. Nice chatting, everybody. Corey, I appreciate you hanging out. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in the UK. Thank you for hanging out with us. And congratulations on winning. Please don't forget to send me your postal information, and I'll get that sent out to you as early as possible.
3-eyed Raven will be flying it to your home.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be back for Meme of the Week, Corey, and the Lauren Histories. So if you want to watch that on YouTube beforehand, feel free, or you can watch it with us live next Monday because we're gonna watch it live on the channel. But have a good one, says Fidel and everybody in the channel.
That's
we
going to be
appreciate your presence.
Heavy package for a Raven. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully Corey's in the UK, so yeah. And Fidel's letting us know that Artemis was the character in Ready Player One that she played.
There you go.
Cool. Let's get straight into this one, shall we? Episode 10. I changed the text up because I was just playing around and I didn't want to be my eyes strain watching over too much reading. This one doesn't have as many slides and isn't as detailed as the first episode or the previous episode. The bloody sword, the first thing that we see is the sword that took the life of Ned Stark. We hear the crowd cheering. We see Ned's head being raised by the executioner, Ilan Payne. And then we're faced with poor Arya, clutching Yoren, yet looking so alone among those who cheer her traitor father's death. I think I have clips for this one, so we should be good.
Keep your mouth shut, boy.
I'm not a boy!
You're not a smart boy, is that what you're trying to say? Do you want to live, boy? North, boy. We're going north. Interesting
storyline development for Arya. Charles, what do you feel about Arya going into the finale of this episode? What do you feel about her as a character?
I like the character. I mean, I think she's growing. She's learning a lot, and I think she's really going to be a pivotal role here coming up soon. I think she's more powerful than we all think. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell at this stage because she's just a child. You know, she's just a.
But I still see the perseverance in her now as a child. Like she wanted to always be that little, sneaking about and not listening to what her father, the tomboy kind of girl, and she's not doing like Sansa is doing and just sucking up to the nearest boy that she can see and all that kind of stuff. I like it. I see the perseverance in Arya's character from the start.
I do feel like he could have just said like, "Hey, chill. We're gonna cut your hair. You're gonna need to pretend to be a boy. We got to get the hell out of here."
Yeah. Look, I know who your dad is. Your dad's going to save you.
I think his demeanor is freaking her the hell out for sure.
I have a question.
Mitchie's got a question.
So in House of Dragons, we know there was always. I know I'm kind of like going back and forth here, but there was always like the question of how this whole mess actually start. Like, how did this actually start? Like, why did this start? Why did this start?
Huh?
All because Cersei got in bed with her brother?
It was the War of the Five Kings with Robert killing Rhaegar Targaryen for thinking that he'd stolen Lyanna Stark.
Yeah.
That is why it all started.
So
That's how Game of Thrones starts.
Okay, I meant like why everybody's just in then.
I'm not sure I understand the question. So I would say that Robert Baratheon did his thing, and then in marrying Cersei, who was tied to her brother, her twin brother, which led to them wanting power over Robert, and it just snowballed into this. We got to get all of our enemies out of the way.
Okay.
Cool. Yoren says to her, "You remember me, boy." He keeps saying boy. How she's a smart boy and will be coming with him. He picks her up and he carries her away. Elsewhere, we see her sister Sansa passing out. Yoren has Arya alone, and he finally gets his point across to her. He'll take her north to safety, but it'll be easier for him to leave with a boy recruit for the Night's Watch. Cawing means one thing. It's Bran. We're going to see Bran. If you hear a crow caw, then it's going to be Bran in the scene. He follows the three-eyed raven into the Stark family crypt. It rests at the direwolf, and Bran follows it. His father is there. Bran tells Osha about the dream, and she carries him. So instantly, when you see Bran walking, you know, okay, this is a dream state because the guy's paralyzed and he can't walk. So you've got to kind of remember that going forward in the show. Because I fell for it a couple of times on the first couple of rewatches. I'm thinking, what? Why is this boy walking again? I thought he was paralyzed, and then you realize it's just a vision. So it gets convoluted, but it all ties. It ties a little bow on at the end. Arya's character development is now about to start, says Fidel. Yeah, completely agree. Where are my clips? Do I have clips for this one? No, not yet. As they walk through, he tells her his family history. His grandfather Rickard burned alive by the Mad King Aerys. His aunt Liliana kidnapped and killed by Rhaegar Targaryen. Bran points to where in the dream he saw Ned, and Osha shows Bran that there's nothing there. It was just a dream. Suddenly, we hear a strange growling sound. A direwolf charges for them, and it turns out it's Rickon and his wolf Shaggy Dog. Rickon is down in the crypt to see their father. Bran reminds him that father is back at King's Landing with Arya and Sansa, but Rickon swears he saw him in the crypt last night, which is kind of creepy and interesting.
Mm-hmm. I thought
Rickon
the same thing.
It's interesting. Rickon, again, there's a reasoning and meaning behind the name of all the direwolves, as we did in that live stream, and I purposely kept the meaning of Shaggy Dog behind because it has ramifications for the storyline. But yeah, it's interesting with Rickon and his story. Osha and Bran leave the crypt, and Osha is telling Bran that it's perfectly normal for them to dream about their dad, whom they miss, but that it doesn't mean anything. Then we see Maester Lewin reading a parchment, and we can tell that he's just received the news about Ned. I can see Jeremy in one of these. Like when I made him Maester, I could just see him in one of these. And there is a clip I have later on of something we caught Jeremy like red-handed. We caught him, so just wait.
Did they put in that one?
Here we have a picture of Rob, a clip here. This was heartbreaking because Rob's just found out his father's dead, and we see him taking it out on a trip.
Rob! You've ruined your sword.
Still gets me.
I don't know why it's not a funny thing, but the first thing she says is, "You've ruined your sword." I just laugh at that. I don't know. It's such a
I laugh at
serious
it because
moment.
it's the innocence. It's the mother speaking to her little boy, and it's like, you dropped your car, and it's such an innocent thing for her to say, and it breaks my heart. It really does.
It shows such strength in her character that she can set aside her own torture and pain and all of that for the sake of reassuring her son that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very powerful how she's able to just take herself out of that moment to be there for her kid when really inside she's just dying in and of herself.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's like Rainier and her son.
Yeah.
They had that conversation.
Yeah.
Very, very well said.
Hit you with all the throwback to House of the Dragon. I love it.
Well, it's about the only thing I can compare it to because I can't do anything else.
I agree.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Catelyn is walking emotionless through a line of soldiers who drop to their knees as she passes, and you know that they all know what's happened at King's Landing. When she is alone, she starts to lose control. Then she hears steel clanging and glunking, and she finds Robb beside him with grief, taking all his anger out and hurt on a poor tree, defenseless poor tree. He collapses in her arms and cries that he'll kill them all. But Catelyn reminds him that they have her sisters. They have to get the girls back, she says, and then we will kill them all. This little smug little shit. In the throne room, King Joffrey is sitting in judgment. Marillion, a troubadour, I don't know, a troubled labour, I suppose. Is singing a song about the late King Robert that mocks the king's rotidity and bull busting at the widow Cersei. Joffrey fake applauds to the song, possibly inventing the slow clap, which is a Fortnite meme, and then asks the guy who was singing what punishment would be appropriate for him singing that horrible song. I actually quite liked the song. I thought it was quite interesting. I would like to go to a Comic-Con dressed as that guy and just sit in the Comic-Con singing that song. And the bulls took off his car. Just a little gesture.
Not if the outcome was the same. I wouldn't want to say.
Yeah,
no. Would he prefer to lose his fingers or his tongue? Keeping in mind that slitting his throat is not off the table, Marillion says a man needs his hands, so Joffrey orders Summer and Payne as the ideal candidate to cut out the man's tongue. Actually cut it out as well. Here we see Ned's head on a spike. Horrible. I don't know why my text isn't right. I must have rushed this one. Having ordered the torture and mutilation, Joffrey is done for the day. He walks by the red-faced and nearly catatonic Sansa and tells her she looks nice. If possible, that moment is even creepier than his sentencing to the troubadour, which we see and hear carried out at the same moment. Joffrey suggests they take a walk. What could possibly be bad about that? Oh wait, this is Joffrey we're talking about. He tells her that as soon as she's able to conceive, he'll put a baby in her. He's such a romantic, guys. And then look, here's what he wants to show her. Her father's head on a spike and her scepter, and I can't remember what that says. But here was a very important scene on the bridge. I just wanted her to push him off. Either push him off or jump.
Well, why didn't she? I get it.
Yeah.
She thought about it. But
yeah, and I wonder if he would have actually died. Is it such a high fall? I don't know how high the walls are. Very interesting.
I think he'd die falling off the throne.
I mean, Bran didn't die, so
no,
he fell from higher.
Yeah. Mitchie has a question in the chat. How does Charles feel about the Hound?
So the Hound, I kind of like him. Okay, hear me out. I'm probably completely wrong on this, but I usually am. I think the Hound is doing what he needs to do for the king, but he also gives Sansa some looks as if I'm on your side, I'm here for you. Like, he's kind of supporting her and kind of protecting her at the same time, but still doing what he's got to do. It's weird. Like, he's playing both sides of the field.
Interesting.
I do kind of think maybe he's on her side. And again, I am probably completely wrong, but that's my thought. That's how I feel about the Hound.
I like it. I'm just I just like it. I love how you come up with these kind of things, because all of us already know his story. And it's funny that Mitchie brings up that question, because I am later going to drop a character video that has been requested in the chat, that I asked for people to give me characters that they like, and the first one up is the Hound. So unfortunately, Charles, you can't watch that video to remain spoiler free. But for everyone else in the community that wants to see these kind of videos and stuff, we are going to put it up. If you watch it, you watch it. Just know that it will contain spoilers.
Yeah.
So there's your warning. Mitchie, a question answer from Charles's question for your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How he picks up on stuff. Very interesting. In fact, he promises to give Sansa her brother Rob's head as well. Sansa defiantly responds, "Or he'll give me yours." And we realise that he hasn't killed her spirit. There's still some Stark in there. He stays calm, saying his mother said that he cannot hit his intended. So instead, he orders some Meryn Trant of the King's Court instead. But it's fucking shit. I hate Meryn Trant. Stay classy, Joffrey. They're standing on the bridge, and after Sansa is struck, it occurs to her that she could just shove Joffrey over the edge. She moves towards him, but the Hound stops her, surprisingly. Instead of letting Joffrey know what she was planning, the Hound acts as if he just wanted to wipe away her blood. The Hound gives her some advice to save yourself. Interesting that the Hound was there for her.
Yeah.
Back at Robb's camp, they're discussing their next move. Some suggest pledging themselves to Lord Renly and moving south to join his army. Robb disagrees. Renly has no claim. He is Robert's youngest brother. If anyone has the rightful claim to the throne, it's Stannis. Great John Umber says epoxy on both of them. The North should be self-ruling. The North bowed to the dragons, but now the dragons are dead. The North should rule itself. The only king he would recognize is Robb, the king in the North. Theon then declares himself for his brother too. One by one, each of the men take a knee, proclaiming Robb as king of the North. And you best believe I have this clipped, because this is just... Whew, after what we see with Ned Stark in the end of episode 9, and then the rise of Robb and his men, it just makes you feel like, yes, I can get behind this show again, and it's not going to be so doom and gloom, and yes, let's do this. So we do have John Umber saying,
why shouldn't we rule ourselves again? It was the dragons we bowed to, and now the dragons are dead. There sits the only king I mean to bend my knee to. The King of the North!
and then Theon pledges too.
Am I your brother? Now and always.
Now and always.
My sword is yours, in victory and defeat, from this day until my last day.
The King of the North!
The King in the North! The King in the North! I probably stand up from my seated position whilst watching the episode, and I praise every single time. No matter where I am, I could be on the bus watching it on my phone, and I will stand up and shout, "The King in the North!" And it's the accent of John Umber as well. There sits the only man I choose to bow my knee to. I'm like, oh, such a gritty northern accent. I love it. It's great. Catelyn goes to see her prisoner, Jaime Lannister. He starts baiting her, making rude sexual innuendos to Ned's widow. She picks up a rock and hits him alongside the head. They spar verbally. He is all cockiness and bravado. She is full of anger and hatred. He mocks her late husband's gods. She tells him what a vile person he is. She asks about Bran, and Jaime confesses to pushing him out the window. Why? I thought the four would have killed him. Well, you ask a stupid question. Either Jaime has a huge death wish, or you realise he is worth more alive than he is dead.
True.
Just clicking on my thingies to see where my next clip comes through. Okay, Cersei is alone with the naked Lancel, her late husband's squire. You remember the guy who was being told to fetch the breastplate stretcher? Well, he's now dipping his wick into Cersei, so they're kind of keeping it in the family.
He's stretching the breastplate, all right. Yeah.
He is definitely stretching that breastplate. And he's excited at the prospect of war. Elsewhere, his father, Kevin, Tywin's brother, is at war. Is at a war meeting with Tywin. Tyrion and various others there are discussing Robb's taking Jaime hostage, and that the fact that they, both Renly and Stannis Baratheon, have declared against the Lannisters. Jaime's army was destroyed and things are looking bleak. Someone suggests suing for peace, and Tyrion says the chance for peace ended when Ned Stark lost his head, which is completely and utterly true. They had the time to do that and they didn't. Hey, Johnny Knight. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping in. Getting his wick. Infamous conversation here between Tywin and Tyrion, father and son. Fun fact, I did upload some shorts on the channel about 2 years ago. They were the 3-parter, and it goes through this entire conversation as a short series. If you want to watch it back sometime, go check them out. I think it's got like 8,000 views. Pretty good for Game of Thrones stuff on the channel. They've been out for a while. Tyrion Lannister cuts through all the jibber jabber, and what should have done next by booming, they have my son. One wonders if Tywin acted the same when Tyrion was taken captive. Putting that aside, Tywin agrees with his youngest son. If Ned Stark were alive, they would have a bargaining chip to use to get Jaime back, and they would have had time to deal with the Baratheons. For now, the plan is for the Mountain to take the Riverland, and the rest will regroup at Harrenhal. We all love Harrenhal, northwest of King's Landing and just south of the Trident. As for Tyrion, he'll go back to King's Landing to do what he is asked to rule, to be Hand of the King in Tywin's stead. Tyrion is shocked. Why him? You're my son. How does Tywin manage to sound so pained making a decision for his son?
So,
go ahead.
In 160 years ago, there wasn't much left of Harrenhal. What's left now? I mean, God.
We do see Harrenhal in this season, and we don't get to see the inners of the castle, which was why it was so cool that we got to see it in House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
But there is a very famous phrase and reference that comes along with Harrenhal in Game of Thrones, and it plays on the whole haunted aspect and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool, but we do see it.
But also in House of Dragon, aren't they working to repair it?
It's always, yeah, I believe it's always under constant repair, because it was attacked by Aegon the Conqueror from above with Balon the Dread, the biggest and baddest dragon of all. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, and the heat melted the rocks and the stone, so it can't really be repaired. It's always going to be the way it is, as we see in this show 160 years later.
Yeah,
but very good question for Harrenhal. It's interesting that I think earlier in the season, I think it's Ilan Payne. He gets gifted Harrenhal for his duty to the realm with Joffrey and stuff like that. So it's knowing now what we know, how haunted it is and how horrible it is. It's quite a poetic ending for that character to go there. Then we have Daenerys Targaryen on screen. Daenerys wakes up, and Jorah, who had been at her bedside, tells her that her son is dead. Just like that, her son is dead.
Tell me.
What is there to tell?
How did my son die?
He never lived, my princess.
He never lived. He was born dead, his body twisted and scaled, like a lizard with wings, like a bat. Sound familiar to a character in House of the Dragon that gave birth to a deformed dragon child?
And we never got to see it?
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I wanted to see it. Yeah, very interesting. This was the same. Daenerys had a baby that died, that didn't come to birth, and was twisted and more like a dragon, one would say. Miri had delivered the baby, but she tells Dany what had happened, and then adds up that she had warned Dany that only death can pay for life. She may possibly have the world's worst bedside manner, Dany says, and then it's cut off, which is annoying me. Aquaman clearly needs some water.
Yeah.
Looking a bit rough here. Looking really, really rough. Mitchie, what would you pay to be those loincloths?
I don't know. Is he still breathing?
Yeah, he's still alive right there.
A lot.
He's probably, well, never mind. If he was
Go
dead.
ahead.
Stop.
So never mind.
Worth more if they're dead. They pay twice the going rate for cadavers.
Yeah.
As they go to see Drogo, Jorah tells Dany that the Khalasar has left. There are just a few of the Dothraki left. Dany sees Drogo, and yes, he's alive, but he's in a vegetative state. He's just a shell. Miri has had her fun. She promised a life for a life. She didn't say anything about the quality of that life. She did this to spite them all. They burned her temple, murdered and raped her people, and this is what they deserve. Dany and Drogo's son have burned down cities. With his death, the cities are safe. Dany is incredulous. I saved you, but Miri tells her she'd already been raped by 3 men by the time Dany saved her. So was she really saved in the long run? We finally know what Jon had decided. Sam cries out, "You can't," but Jon is leaving the wall to go and fight for Ned, for Robb. Sam tries his hardest to stop him and warns what happened to deserters, but Jon used the watch. His old man chopped his head off deserters, so he'll run the risk and do it anyway. And we have a clip here. I love Sam in this
We
moment.
need you here.
Move.
I won't let you go.
Move.
No.
I say the same thing too, Mitchie. When he goes, no, I'm like, oh, Sam, you're breaking my heart. Oh, I love Sam so much. Shay is not thrilled to learn about Tyrion's promotion, especially as it means that she can't come with him. She's tickled that she's being treated like a common whore, since I suspect she thinks she's no better than one. Back to Sam and the boys, they catch up with Jon in the forest. Jon is running away with Ghost and his direwolf by his side when he hears sounds of hooves coming up behind him and shouts the name Samwell. He turns around to find Pip and Sam and Gren out in the woods to find him and bring him back to the castle before anyone finds out that he left. And we get a nice little pledge. The clips.
And now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I should live and die at my post.
I am the sword in the darkness, the watcher on the walls,
The shield that guards the realms of men.
I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch, for this night and all nights to come.
Absolutely love it. I have questioned whether I want to get the entire Night's Watch quote tattooed on my body at some point. I would love to have it on my back. Shout out to Randy from Mystery Madness Collectibles. We love you and we miss you. I've got my plaque on the wall that he sent me for my Temu surprise box. It was a Game of Thrones metal plaque, and it's the entire Night's Watch verse. So it's literally right there, just out of camera's shot.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Mitchie says that was very cult-like.
Oh yes.
Chanting in the woods with fire.
Definitely. Jon tells them that he has to go help his brother, but Sam reminds him that we're your brothers now. Oh, how can you say no to that? You can't. And neither can Jon, especially when each of his friends recite their vow that they took. It's all pretty sweet. Back to Aquaman. Dany is taking care of Drogo and talking to him, hoping to see some sign that he's still in there. Slowly, she comes to realize that he's gone and never coming back. Just like Miri said, she kisses him and one last time, and she puts a pillow over his face and smothers him.
That's a total Mitchie move.
Yeah.
You made me sign a contract.
I did make you sign
Jeremy,
it.
I just need your thumbprint for the crypto account, and then I'm going to smother you.
And then yes.
What's the Bobby Feathers pillow smell like?
At least it was a feather pillow, right? At least it was a courtesy of a feather pillow.
What did I say? You wanted to be buried with all your money? I'll write you a check.
Yeah, I said I'm going to get buried with all my money. She said, "Yeah, I'll just write you a check and take the cash."
And here we go, guys. We're coming up to the part where we found Jeremy red-handed. Just
So I'm gonna tell you right now, I love this dude.
You like Pycelle, do you? You like Grandmaster Pycelle?
Just what he does in this scene.
You know it's Julian Glover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Julian Glover who plays him. Fantastic actor. And he's doing a lot of the con circuit at the minute, so I'd like to meet him one day.
Yeah.
It's Sexposition time, guys. Brought to you by Grand Maester Pycelle, or Maester Pycelle. Really not someone you want to have in a sentence with the word sex in it. He's awfully chatty regarding regaling Ros, our favourite red-headed whore, with all the kings he's served. Aerys Targaryen, who had once been a good man until he was consumed by the dreams of fire and blood and fell into madness. Robert Baratheon, a powerful man and a great warrior. Here is an image of Jeremy just before he joined the stream. And we have him stretching as well. This clip is called Maester Pycelle is fucking grim. That's what I titled this.
He's a nimble old man.
But and then when he gets all, mastered up and he's ready to go out the door, and he's like, "Oh wait, hold on." He crouches back over.
Yeah.
He starts walking real slow again. I'm like, this, yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny, but it's actually a really what's the word I'm looking for? A genius way to be under the cover. People think he's just an old man and he's not any harm, but really he could probably wield a sword and fight if he really wanted to. So yeah, it's interesting.
Who's gonna mess with the old cripple guy in the corner? Yeah, no way.
Yeah, like Bran got it right from the start of the season. He's like, I'm not going to walk around all day. I'm just going to go in a wheelchair and people push me around. It's one of those things. I'll check on the chat. I got 4 new ones up there now. I need to click away from my comments. Exactly.
Yeah, at least we didn't get the full Hodor experience with this one.
Yeah, no, I have to be YouTube friendly. Although Hodor was absolutely packing.
This one probably looked more like an acorn hiding in a nest or something.
yeah, like a white bushy nest, probably.
Yeah.
He praises the current king as a capable young man with a strong military mind, stern. Perhaps he's been sucking too much milk of the poppy if you think he's Joffrey. If he thinks what Joffrey can be labelled stern. He goes on to say he sees true greatness with Joffrey. He thinks Ares was mad, so Ros leaves, and he's been coughing and asking her to repeat things and basically acting like a doddering old man until she shuts the door and he stands straight up, starts doing calisthenics and put Jack LaLanne into shame. We discover that he is not as all seems.
Yeah.
Fantastic conversation between Littlefinger and Varys. We see Littlefinger standing at the throne room looking at the Iron Throne. Varys walks in and asks him what his vision is of life, and when he's ruling Westeros, Littlefinger does skip a beat and asks that he is ambitious. He has ambitions. He asks what Varys would do, and he responds that he's probably one of the few people who does not want the Iron Throne. Littlefinger takes a few jabs at the eunuch, asking him such delicate questions. Their exchange is rather heated, for one in such hushed tones, with such a veneer of civility. There is animus and posturing, but each appear wary of each other. So yeah, they're basically arguing with each other, but talking politically, and it's just so good to watch. I could pause and rewind so many times. They are very, very good together.
It was a good conversation, interaction. Yeah.
Yeah, they're clearly feeling each other out without, they're clearly
fondling each other without, grabbing weight.
Fondling each other, yes.
Yeah.
Look at this shot. Love it, absolutely love it. Jeremy, if you had to choose one or the other, which one would you choose? The storyline that we know right now. I know you know more, but.
Well, I mean, at the storyline right now, I would have I would say Varys, only because Littlefinger raised a knife to Ned's throat and said, I told you not to trust me. That's even though he told him not to trust him. He still, I think, was on the wrong side versus while Varys was a coward and didn't help Ned. He also didn't do anything to create the situation to put him where he was.
Yeah, you've got one man that put him where he was and one man reluctant to get him out of where he is. So, yeah. Very, very interesting. Charles, who would you choose right now as your man?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. At the beginning of the season, I was like pro Littlefinger, but no. I would say Varys as well. So
okay.
It's like you guys said, he told him not to trust him. He did.
Yeah.
And then Varys, he's not going to, I don't think he's going to go either way.
Okay. I want to throw Larys into the pit. Does Larys stand anything with these two? Would you think he would get a decent conversation? Larys from Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon?
Yeah.
Varys,
would Larys fit in this?
Yeah, Pinky Toe. Varys and Littlefinger would chew Larys up and spit him out.
I agree.
I think that these two characters would absolutely just crushingly defeat I mean, I just think they stay on really good point.
Charles, what say you? I know you're a massive House of Dragon fan in the show, so
I don't know. I think Laris is very cunning, just like these two. I think Laris and Varys would team up almost.
That's what I was thinking.
Because Laris, he kind of plays both sides. You know, all three of them are, but Littlefinger, not so much, in my opinion.
I think we need to pin this question for a later episode where we say, do we feel like Laris falls more in line with Varys' character or Littlefinger's character? I mean, we could answer it now, but I think we could also revisit it in a season or two and have a better idea.
yeah, I completely agree. Because the stories do develop with both of them, and we do have a lot with Laris that we already have. And he's still alive. You know, he was very cunning at the end of this season 2. He got the Aegon out of the capital, didn't he? Because he knew that the war was coming, and he got him out. So he's got his own rights and his own credits in the things that he's done for the story that he's in. But yeah, I stand with Littlefinger. I'll just say that right now. I stand with Littlefinger. I think he's playing a good game. It's such a riveting scene. It begs another photo. There were two in the small circle, in the small council, the innermost circle of the last king who died mysteriously, and now hold the same position with the new king. One admits he wants power. The other has said all he wants is what's best for the realm. Varys the eunuch, former actor with no significant bloodline, and Baelish, aka Littlefinger, the self-made man with brothels and women. Introducing Ari, the orphan boy. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say real quick. You asked the question at this stage of the show, who do you like better? If you'd have asked me who's playing a better game, Littlefinger hands down.
Okay, well, I do like Littlefinger better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I will say I like Littlefinger. Introducing Ari, the orphan boy.
I would have had to place $1 million bet with you on, in the end, who is the winner here?
Okay.
Apparently, orphans in the capital get really bad haircuts, but this is a great thing Yoren has done for Arya, giving her a way to be incognito. He's rounding up some 20 boys to take to the wall, so she won't stand out. He tells her that she's not safe as a girl, but if she keeps her head down and stays out of trouble, then he should be able to get her to north to her family. Yoren is a great character. He's out there, you know, saving Arya, putting his life on the line for a princess or a royal name, should we say, in his Starks. Yoren's a great character. Then we meet Hot Pie, who kind of bullies Arya a little bit. Of course, Arya immediately gets into the middle of a scrap with some bigger boys who are looking for someone to bully. They picked the wrong boy. They try and steal her sword, but she is not giving up Needle. She comes at the fatter one and more belligerent of the two boys and tells him that she's already killed a fat boy and would be happy to add him to the list. The list, you say? Then we meet a man called Gendry. And Gendry introduces himself. And she backs him up into an older boy who then gives the fat boy even more grief. Oh, you like picking on little boys, do you? It's Gendry, the blacksmith that Ned Stark talked to and figured out was one of Robert Baratheon's bastard sons. Gendry has a great role in the story. We will be doing a character introduction for all these new characters going in. I think we have a clip for... Where is it? Oh, here we go.
Here I am.
Come on, you sorry sons of whores! It's 1,000 leagues from here to the wall, and winter is coming.
It's 1,000 leagues from here to the wall, and winter is coming. The actor that plays Yoren did say that was his most requested line on Cameo. People pay him to do that line a lot. It's a great one. That's why we clicked it. He scares the bullies away and then talks to Arya for a bit, noticing that the sword she has is of very high quality. He explains that he's going to the wall because his master, whom he apprenticed for, grew tired of him, which I completely disagree. I think that his master found out about the conversation with Ned Stark, and I think he got a little bit spooked about working in the capital with a boy that could probably bring badness to his business. So he's like, yeah, just wash my hands with this boy and get rid of him, because obviously he's of importance somehow, because Ned Stark came to talk to him. Of all the people, Ned Stark came to talk to him, so I do think he got rid of him that way. He grew tired of him. Yoren gets them all rounded up and headed 1,000 leagues to the north. Winter is coming. Then Jon up north. There's a new morning at Castle Black, and Commander Mormont is grousing over his breakfast. He offhandedly asks Jon Snow if he's tired from his moonlight ride, so he knew about it. Some Mormont knows about Jon's desertion, but Jon isn't in any trouble. Everyone tries to run away, or at least he has a nobler reason than to find the whore. To find a whorehouse nearby, but no more talk about going south. So at least he understands why he tried to run away. It was honourable. It wasn't like he was just trying to get his wick wet or whatever, as we said earlier.
Yeah.
There are problems north of the wall. Rangers finding whole villages abandoned. A captured wildling said that the tribes are joining forces, and more of the blue-eyed reanimated corpses, whites, have been found near the wall. We get a smouldering look of Jon Snow as Sir Jorah Mormont says, where is it? Oh, there it is.
And we will find Benjen Stark, alive or dead. I will command them myself. So I'll only ask you once, Lord Snow. Are you a brother of the Night's Watch, or a bastard boy who wants to play at war?
Why do I get
It's like an
Optimus
intervention.
Prime?
Yeah, right.
Anybody else?
Very much so.
Completely. I am Optimus Prime. Are you a bastard, Jon Snow?
Yeah, it's a great
Some moment asks him, do you think your brother's war is more important than ours? When he give the right answer, no, he wins a trip beyond the wall. Mormont is taking a small party out there tomorrow, and he wants Jon to come and bring his direwolf. Being a season-ending episode, Mormont adds a great mini speech about how he hopes to accomplish next time, including the speech that we get. Here we have an Eye of Sauron. You would think it was, but it's not. It's just Daenerys setting fire to things. Oh, to Khal Drogo, the Aquaman. Yeah, because fire and water. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, fire and water. Yeah.
A funeral pyre is built for Drogo, and Dany places the 3 dragon eggs with his body. Interesting. Jorah discourages her from destroying the eggs, saying that she could sell them for enough money to live out the rest of her days, a wealthy woman. But she refuses. Jorah knows that Dany intends to join Drogo in the fire, and he doesn't want her to kill herself.
You don't understand.
Don't ask me to stand aside as you climb on that pyre. I won't watch you burn.
Is that what you fear?
So,
okay, I'll move. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you for the kiss. Okay, all good. So does he not understand the Targaryen life, or what?
Good point.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I know.
But he was sent to assassinate her in the origin. He was originally sent to assassinate her, wasn't he? And send news back and all that kind of stuff. And now he isn't, and kind of falls in love with her a little bit, and the promises that she can bring. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely has a lot of emotion for her. And yeah, you see the kiss. It's probably the worst thing that she could have done.
and only one person has seen her, not burn her hands.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's common knowledge that Targaryens can't burn.
Okay, so it's not?
Not as, because only her handmaid had seen her step into the water and say, "No, Khaleesi, it's too hot," and she just steps in. Okay. And then I think it was her brother that seen her playing with the fire and never said anything. So
yeah, well, I just would have thought that would have been like lore, because in House of the Dragon they can't burn either. So you would have thought that would have been a known fact going along, right?
They can burn though.
But they can and they can't. Like, yeah, Daemon's first wife gets killed by dragonfire.
Well, Aegon gets burned.
Yeah, Aegon gets burned.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Viserys who plays with the flames and doesn't get burnt.
Yeah.
But is that just human fire or dragon fire? Is it different? There is discrepancies with the storyline of what is what and what is not. Because
Okay.
I personally don't think that the Daenerys is fireproof. But
Okay.
hey. What do I know by the end of this episode? So.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, honestly, you don't have to be sorry. I completely get it. But Dany knows what she has to do. She speaks to the small remaining group of slaves. She tells them that they will be her connoisseur, not slaves anymore. They can go if they wish, or they can stay with her and live free. Miri finds it funny when a bunch leave, and her chuckles. So it's funny. She says you can leave or you can stay, and the witch that's helped her do all this just walks off. Like, yeah, never mind. Dany's not having any of that, though. And Dany proclaims herself the dragon's daughter as the fires grow higher, and the singing of the sorceress turns to screams. Dany walks into the flames. Jorah looks on, but knows that he cannot stop her. And she says this.
I am Daenerys Stormborn, of House Targaryen, of the blood of old Valyria. I am the dragon's daughter, and I swear to you that those who would harm you will die screaming. You will not hear me scream.
Dude, it's such a powerful speech. I love Daenerys in that moment. Yeah. The next morning, the freed slaves who stayed are just waking up as Jorah and Ricario walk towards the pile of ashes that was the pyre. There, on the ground, he finds Dany, dirty, naked, but alive. We hear a sound, and then we see it. A little red baby dragon on her shoulder. And I have the clip called Through the Fire and Flames. That's all I can show you of Moo-Moos, because it's YouTube, guys. You want to see the real things? Go watch the episode. That's all I could show you. Jorah kneels, saying, "Blood of my blood." And the rest of her Khalasar bow down to her as she stands, displaying all 3 of her baby dragons and 2 beautiful boobs. She's not only the dragon's daughter, she's the mother of dragons. And that's the end of the episode. That's the end of the season 1, guys. Dany has the dragons. The Night Watch is heading north of the wall to fight for the realm, and Arya has escaped King's Landing. If you like this kind of content, please consider buying me a coffee. There is the QR code on screen again for the final time this season. That's it. End of season 1. 73 slides done. 76 slides done for episode 9. And in under 2 hours. I'm getting good at this.
I think that is while there wasn't, so like I said earlier, some characters have to die for other characters to grow into their potential. And in that final scene, when she gives that speech, walks into that fire, and then comes out with dragons, that is just an epic moment in this show. It says everything about the future of that character and who she is and what how now she controls situations moving forward. She's no longer the Khaleesi second to Khal Drogo. She's not, bending the knee to anybody else. She is truly in charge, and everybody wants to follow her.
Definitely.
Yeah, I want to pose the question to you guys. How would the season have felt if 9 and 10 were flipped? If Ned's beheaded was the last thing we see of season 1, how would that have made you feel differently than how? Obviously it does, because it's different, but we see Daenerys with the dragons. I don't know if that would have been a better thing to see at the end of 9, and then we see the Ned thing. I quite like it the way it is.
I think it has to be the way it is, personally. I think it has to be, because it is the death of one main character and the rise of another. It wouldn't have the same effect if you had the rise of one character and then the death of another. It just leaves it off balance.
Yeah, pretty much bingo. Yeah, that's right. Charles, how do you feel about that whole situation? 9 and 10.
So this is what I was telling you earlier backstage. I honestly think you could have taken 9 and 10 made it about an hour and 20-minute long finale and been a blockbuster finale with both in one episode.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
So, so I pose to you, what do you take out of the 2-hour track? You say an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 for the finale. What wasn't of your liking in the last 2 episodes?
Oh, just a little bit of the Caitlyn stuff, walking around and stuff. I mean, that shows how powerful she is as a character and coping skills and everything. But it added to the story for me, but it didn't. And then probably the part where they go and they're marching the 1,000 miles up, or whatever he called it, leagues.
Yeah. Are you meeting her new friends?
I mean, it's only a couple minutes to take out. Of course, Littlefinger and Varys, you got to have that in there. You got to have the speech at the wall when they're leaving. There's just little things I would have taken out that they could have compressed a little bit myself.
Remember that, and then as you continue to watch, because there are some characters that you're going to see that got developed in these early scenes that you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking of one specifically, but there are probably more than one. Yeah, you probably could have edited out Pycelle doing his aerobics.
Yeah.
Although, served a point.
Very good point. I want to point out that you mentioned Caitlyn. I kind of agree with you in the sense of Caitlyn's character from book to show, and I have the book right here, and you'll see my book note is at the end. I've actually finished the book for season 1 as we finish the season. Caitlyn is in the book a lot more, and she isn't in the show. And they do make a massive key change with Caitlyn's character going forward in the later seasons. That in Game of Thrones, the show it's completely ignored, and I feel like a lot of the build up in season 1 of Caitlyn's character stands the test of time with the storyline because of what is to come later in the book. It makes sense, but because that isn't in the show, it kind of doesn't make sense, and it does feel like she's just wandering. Like she had a strong opinion about Jon. She didn't want Ned to go south, but yet he did, and then she's just wandering between no man's land here, there, and everywhere until pretty much the end of the season.
She had 3 contributions that I can think of to the show, and that was 1 to call to be a total piece of shit to Jon Snow before he left for the Wall. And then 2 was the completely unnecessary taking of Tyrion. And then this motherly moment to Robb, but certainly not to the kids that she's left behind.
Yeah. What about the other 2,
So she doesn't, there's no I don't have any real strong emotional ties to a Caitlyn or Catelyn or whatever however you say it as a character.
Caitlyn. But and I can say this because it isn't a spoiler for the show because it doesn't happen. In the book, she becomes a character called Lady Stoneheart. In the book, and she goes on a path of some. Yeah, she just goes on a path, and it's very interesting for her story because of everything that her character goes through. And we don't see that in the show. We just don't see it. It's just completely ignored, and it's interesting. So if anyone wants to know more about Caitlyn and the story that she was supposed to, just Google Lady Stoneheart predictions or Lady Stoneheart story, and you'll get some great people out there that will give you the whole story of what she was supposed to do in the show, but they completely overlooked it.
I think that Charles, you're right. They could have made some kind of banger, crazy 1.5 hour long season finale that would have been crazy with all of that in one. I actually kind of liked that we got to sit on the Ned. And if we would have, if I would have watched it in real time, I would have gotten to sit on that knowledge of him getting beheaded for an entire week.
Yeah.
Before I got to see this next scene that then, holy shit, there's dragons.
Yeah.
I mean.
Wait, when was there was dragons?
Danny
Did you not see it at the end? Are you joking?
Danny came out of the fire with dragons. Cute little baby dragons.
Cute little
There were
baby
dragons
dragon.
in that
He
scene?
says,
What?
I don't remember. I just saw boobies.
Yeah, just some movies.
I only saw boobies.
I'll be honest, I didn't realize one of them was red.
Thought they were.
It's a color difference going forward. It changes in season 2. So
I would say it was a well-rounded. I would say it was a well-rounded scene.
It was.
yeah, very well rounded, very voluptuous acting.
Jorah's really in love now.
Yeah, I don't blame him, bro. I don't blame him.
No.
Cool. So episode that's done. I can't believe we've finally done it. You can praise to the seven gods. We've done season 1 of Game of Thrones on the Ryan Milky channel.
One in the books.
Breathe.
You never
Yeah,
thought it would happen.
I genuinely, I've talked about, how long have I talked about this show? Since I joined the Horsemen and before, forever in existence. And now we're getting to do it on the channel. And I thank both of you, and especially you, Charles, for giving us the avenue and the path to follow with you first time watching this show. It's been amazing. And some of the insights that you've given tonight have opened me up to some interesting, thoughtful processes of conversations that we can go down because of the way you're thinking of certain characters. Yeah, it's been great. Charles, how would you rate this episode?
I'm going to give this a 9. I liked 9 better than 10, to be totally honest with you.
Okay. Would you say this is your least favorite episode then?
No.
No?
One of the early ones.
Yeah,
One of
okay.
the earlier ones, yeah.
Who's your
I gave
favorite
the early
character?
ones 8s, so.
Who's your one favorite character going out of season 1?
My favorite character, season 1.
And it can be Ned. He's dead. It can be Ned.
It can't be Ned, can't be Cal, because they're both dead.
It can be them. You know, if you want it to be them, it can be.
them.
No, I don't think it is. I really don't. I still like Tyrion, my little guy. I still like him. You know, he is what he is, but you know, how am I going to put this? He is what he is, but he acts like he still fights for both. I think, you know, because he helped Caitlyn out, he helped her family out, but he's still fighting her family for his family. It's a
For as little as the character is, he casts a large shadow.
He does.
He's a very powerful.
Because of him being in this show, I've watched different movies with him in it and really enjoyed them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's in some great ones.
Cool. Jeremy, Mitchie, who's your favorite character going out of season 1?
Oh, Arya.
Arya coming out of season 1. Arya. Okay. I would say Tyrion, but then I would say that Tyrion's character became even better with Bronn, and then you throw in Shay into the mix, and I think you just have a perfect storm. I love it. I love all three of them. I love that throuple. Yes.
Yeah, nice. I like Yoren. I like Yoren this season. He stands out to me as a very honourable family man, even though he's from the north and from the wall, and you know we meet him at the front, and he comes down south and does all he does. But I would probably have to say, Tyrion too is my favourite in season 1.
Yeah, I could also say Sam Tully.
Sam, yeah. Sam is a very unique character. He's the only character that makes me go, "Ah." He's the only character I feel that for.
Well, Sam relates to this like I think I would be a warrior in battle, but my inside brain tells me I'd probably be more like Sam. Just want everybody to love each other, and you know, I mean, he's just such a likable guy. Yeah. But I feel like I would relate more to John than Sam, but that's what I love about Sam, because he has that other side that's just a genuinely good person. The side I don't have, Mitchie, yes, good person, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely don't have the sweet emotional side to me that. Yes.
Tyrion's getting a lot of votes. Tyrion's getting a lot of votes.
Right. I think that's right.
Take notes.
Sam in this show reminds me of Sean Astin's character in The Hobbit.
Yeah. It's Samwise Gamgee. It's Frodo's.
Is that what his name is?
Yeah, Samwise. It's interesting you say that, because you have Jon Snow, Sam, Pippin, and Gren, and you also have Pippin, Merry, Samwise, and Frodo. You have the 4 and then you have the four. It's a very interesting story of fantasy, like four friends working together to become better in themselves and to go on an adventure. It is kind of linked in a way. I don't know if that's George R. R. Martin taking from Tolkien's work and maybe being influenced by it, because he is heavily influenced by a lot of it, he says. But yeah, good catch.
I said yes. I said yes, like I've seen that, and I haven't. And that doesn't.
If I could reach through the screen and slap you with a tortilla, I would.
Well, and that idea that is all relative and similar and whatever doesn't make me want to watch it more.
Something that if I watched it, that's something my brain would probably
100%
correlate to.
It would.
But you haven't seen it either.
I haven't, but what he said is something that my brain would do, and I'd be sitting there telling you all about it.
Mitchie, I know if you sat and watched the 9 hours, because if you watch The Lord of the Rings, it has to be a 9-hour commitment with the extended versions, otherwise don't bother at all.
I went to the movie theater and saw
you would fall in love. You would fall in love with Samwise. I can guarantee it now. You would be crying like a baby at the end of it.
Oh, but I'm not watching it.
First of all, Mitchie can barely sit still for 5 minutes. You're asking for 9 hours.
But the story is that epic that it goes like that. You don't even realize you've been sat there for 9 hours because it's just so good. One day we'll get to it. Okay, we'll get through this. We'll get through this.
I said I would never watch this. Yeah, I said I would never watch this, and I did.
Okay, so I've seen one of the movies, or two of the movies, and it was the worst thing for me to try to sit there for the 3 hours in the movie theaters trying to watch it. And I was like 16 when it came out.
Yeah, it's a different kind of age, though. You know, you want to be out partying and doing your own things.
I will say that I give this episode about a 9.3.
Thank you for putting us back on track.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I would give this a 9. What have I got there? A 9.3. Yeah, that's actually where it sits in mine.
Mitchie,
yeah,
did you have
9.3.
a rating?
Oh, 8.5.
8.5.
8.5 from Mitchie. Okay.
It's higher than I thought it would be.
10.
That's like a 12 on the Mitchie scale. So
I'm going to do a guessing game. So I'm going to try and guess what the episode is. I'll send it to you for this next week, okay, Mitchie, in the group chat, and I'll go, Mitchie, is it this one? And you can agree or disagree.
But there's
remember to be spoiler free.
But there's more than one. So
yeah, there is more than one. 9 for Fidel. Fidel, you're a legend, bro. I think you're the last one here, apart from everyone that's in the group. So
now,
thank you, Fidel.
Khal Drogo lives. It's a 9 for Mitchie.
Yeah, right. If he would have been stiff a little longer, he'd have been a 10.
If he would have somehow came out of this and like been alive still.
Just throw him in the water.
He was trying to come out of it, but she was holding the pillow too tight.
Yeah, no kidding.
He was starting to flop.
He was twitching a little bit.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Like that all day long. Like, where do you go? How do you go to the bathroom? Who's cleaning that up?
We don't need to get into the details.
Now think about that when you see a good-looking face and a six-pack. You don't think about, I've got to tidy up after this guy.
You can smell it, and I'm done.
Okay.
Aqua stiff man. Aqua stiff man.
Aqua stiff man. Absolutely. Oh boy.
Cool. Well, that's it. We're just over the 2 hour mark. That is officially. We can tie a little bow on it. We can do a little. Yeah. We've done it. Episodes 1 to 10 of Game of Thrones breakdown. I want to thank each and every single person that has interacted with me or Poppin or any of the council members that have been on screen or in the chat. It's been an absolute fucking honor to be able to do this my way and not copy other people on YouTube, because it's been done 1,000 times and I've watched all of them, but nobody's done it the way I've done it with the detailed breakdowns and the clips. I want to thank YouTube for only kicking me off once. I appreciate it. And if you would like to see more, or if you would like access to all 10 of the previous breakdowns that we've done, go buy me a coffee and they will be on there in the next coming week. We're going to do all 10 episodes on one downloadable linkable file, and you'll be able to get all of the knowledge from myself and the council members for season 1. But with that being said, I would like to thank Charles for being my hand of the king, Jeremy for being my maester, Mitchie for being my Lord Commandess of the King's Guard. She even has a sword, guys. Check it out in the previous episode. Again, congratulations to... Yes, 2 swords. Look at it. Congratulations to Corey for winning the season 1 giveaway. And what a giveaway it is. Awesome, awesome prizes. 10 things from my personal collection. But guys, I'm terrible at outros. So without further ado, I love you. We love you. We will see you next week for the Laws and Histories breakdown and a season 1 bumper version of Meme of the Week. So if you've got a Game of Thrones meme and you want it to be showcased on the stream, send it to me at Instagram, RyanMilky14, or anywhere else on social media with the same handle, and you'll find me. Anything you guys would like to add before we get out of here for the realm?
I shall pass my balls back to Mitchie.
Okay.
Until season 2.
Mitchie can put them back in the pocket or wherever they belong. Charles, anything for the good of the realm before we get out of it?
Nope. Keep them heads on.
Keep them heads on.
Oh, wow. Wow. Guys, I love you. My name's Ryan. I've been joined by my council members. We will see you next week. Good night.
Yeah, we will.